There's a moment in every login where the password stops mattering. You type your credentials, the app lets you in, and from that point on, the thing keeping your session alive is not your password anymore. It is a token, a small piece of text that travels with your requests and quietly tells the application, "This is who I am." Most users never see it, most people never think about it, but in a vulnerable app, the token can become the weakest part of the whole login system. Because if the application believes the wrong token, the login page can look completely normal, while the real weakness is already sitting inside the session. That's what makes JWT attacks so interesting. They are about understanding what the application trusts, how that trust is protected, and what happens when the backend trusts a story it should have rejected. So today we are going to break that story apart, understand why it matters, and then I will show you exactly how it looks in practice. So let's get to it. Before we touch the examples, we need to understand what a JWT is. And a JWT stands for JSON Web Token. Usually you see it after login. The user logs in, the server checks the credentials, and if everything is correct, the application gives the browser a token. From that point on, the browser keeps sending that token with the requests, and that token becomes the thing that the browser uses to recognize the session. So when you open your account page, update your profile, check your orders, or access an API endpoint, the backend is not asking for your passwords every time. It is checking the token. That's why JWTs are so important. They sit right between login and access. Now, JWTs usually have three parts: the header, the payload, and the signature. The header describes the token and the algorithm that was used. The payload contains claims, which are basically statements about the user or the session. And the signature is the proof that the token was created by the right system and has not been modified. That signature is where the trust comes from, because the payload itself is not usually encrypted. It is encoded. That means you can decode the token and read what's inside. You might see a username, a role, or other values the application uses during the session. Now, being able to read a JWT does not automatically mean that the application is vulnerable. A readable token is not the same thing as a broken token. The real issue starts when the application trusts something it should have verified. So think of the payload like a statement. It can say this user is winner, it can say this user is administrator, it can say this token expires later, and it can say many things. But saying something doesn't make it true. The backend is supposed to check the signature before it believes the statement. So, if the token is unsafe, the server should reject it. If the payload changes, the signature should no longer match. And if the secret behind the signature is weak, then the whole proof becomes weak. That's the core of JWT Forgery. You are not just looking at the token, you are looking at a trust decision. The application receives a token and has to decide whether to believe it. And when that decision is done correctly, changing the token should fail. Now let me show you what that looks like on screen. I'm logged in as a normal user, and Burp is capturing the traffic between my browser and the application. Now I will send the request to Repeater. Inside the request, we can see the session cookie, and inside that cookie there is a JWT. And at first it looks like a long string, but when we look closely, we can see the three parts separated by dots. That's the structure we talked about earlier. We have the header, the payload, and the signature. Now, to make this easier to inspect, I will install the JWT Editor extension in Burp. And it's done. Now, let's go back to Repeater. As you can see, we now have a tab called JSON Web Token. So let's click that tab. Here we have the token decoded and we can see what the token is actually saying. One of the claims is called sub, and that means subject. In simple terms, this is who the token refers to. In this case, it belongs to me. So the token is basically telling the backend this request belongs to this user. This is where the test begins. begins. So let's change the subject from my username to administrator. Now at this moment the token should no longer be trusted because you can see it changing while you type administrator. And because of that change, the signature should not match anymore, and a secure backend should reject this request immediately. But let's see what happens. Next step is copying the new token and then replace the old one with this new one. Let's also change the account request so it points to the administrator user. So instead of requesting my account page, we request the administrators. Let's send this, and the server responds with 200. That means the application accepts the request. Now in the response I can see something important. The administrator account has access to an admin panel, and that panel is available at this path. So let's try to access it. We change the request to this, we send it again, and we get another 200 response, guys. Now let's see what we can do from the admin panel. So let's go back to the website. As you can see, we do not have admin access here, and that's normal. We need to inform the website that we are admin, and for that we need to paste the token in the cookie. So we open DevTools, go to storage, and we replace the value of the cookie with our new token, and we click enter. Now we refresh the page, and as you can see we have access to the admin's panel. Let's go to the admin panel, and as you can see we have here user accounts. One of them is mine and the other is from a user called Carlos. And from this admin functionality we can delete that user. So let's do it, guys. And we just deleted the account of a user without needing admin's password. That's why this vulnerability matters, because we do not just decode a token, we change the identity inside the token, we send the token back to the server and it believed it. So that's the real vulnerability. Now let's see the next example. They both seem similar at first, but the reason this one works, it's different. I am logged in as a normal user again, and Burp is capturing the request. Just like before, I send the request to repeater and open the JSON Web Token tab. Here we can see the decoded token. The subject is still my normal username, so the token is telling the backend that this request belongs to me. In the previous example, changing the subject was enough because the backend was not properly verifying the signature, but this time that's not enough. So besides changing the subject, we need another way of bypassing this. So when we look at the header, there's a value called alg. That means algorithm, and this tells the backend what algorithm is being used to protect the token. Now in a secure application, the backend should already know what algorithm it expects, and it should not blindly trust whatever the token says. But let's put that to the test. Let's change the value to none, and that means there should be no signature. Now we copy the new JWT token and change the old one with this. However, because we changed the alg to none, we can't send the token with the signature, because when we set alg to none, we are basically saying that this token is unsigned. So the token should only contain the header and payload, with the signature part empty. But we still keep the dot in the end because the third part exists, but it's empty. Now we change the request to administrators and we send it, and we get a 200, guys. That means the application accepts the request. Now in the response we can see that the administrator account has access to the admin panel at this path. So let's change the request to that, we send it again, and we get another 200 response. That means the admin panel is accessible. Now in the response we can see that the admin panel allows us to delete user accounts, and there's a request for deleting Carlos. So let's send that request with the same modified token, and now Carlos is deleted. This shows the impact clearly. We are not just reading a token. We are changing the identity inside that token, changing the algorithm so the token becomes unsigned, and the backend still accepts it. Now I will give you a last example, because in the first one we changed the identity inside the token. In the second one we changed the algorithm to none and removed the signature. But what happens when the application does verify the signature, but the secret used to sign the token is weak? Let's see. I'm already logged in and I already have the request in repeater. Now we will try to recover the signing secret, and for that we need the full token. So let's copy the token, then we go to the terminal and we will use Hashcat, and this will be the command. And just so you know, -m16500 tells Hashcat that we are working with a JWT value, and we will use the rockU.txt word list. Now let's see if we can crack it. And we can, guys. So now, to see the words, we use the same command but with the flag --show in the end. And here's our word, secret 1. Now we need to bring that secret back into Burp Suite so we can sign our own modified token. But before we can use that secret, we need to do some steps. First, we need to encode it as base 64. To do that, we can use Burp's encoder. So we paste the word and we encode as base 64, and that gives us this string. But we remove the two equal signs because Burp's JWT key value expects base 64 URL without padding. Next, we go to the JWT Editor keys tab and click New Symmetric Key. Then we click Generate. Burp creates a key, but we do not want to use the random value it generated. We want Burp to use the secret that Hashcat recovered. So, the one that we encoded is base 64. We paste that value in the key and we save it. Next, we go back to repeater. We open the JSON Web Token tab again and we change the sub to administrator and we click sign. As you can see, Burp shows the key that we just created. We leave don't modify the header checked and let's click OK. Now we copy the new token and we do the same as we did before. We replace the old one with this and change the request to administrator. We click send and we get a 200, guys. And now you know the next steps would be the same. Access admin and delete the user account. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and it helped you in any way. And if it did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more content like this. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Stay curious and stay safe. Bye bye.